This last weekend was the No Kings protest. No Kings, they say. It's funny. They weren't doing No Kings protests when the most authoritarian thing of all happened in our country the last 30 years, when the entire nation was locked down by Democrat governors and we were forced to take an mRNA gene-altering vaccine against our will, and I was not allowed to visit the city of New York or Los Angeles without show me your papers, a vaccine passport. No Kings, they say. It's funny, when American military members were kicked out of the U.S. military because they would not take the COVID shot. The same party that selected and appointed Kamala Harris as the candidate with no election, no process, like a Zoom call, thinks Trump is a king. The same party that prevented Bernie Sanders from becoming the nominee in 2016 and partially 2020 thinks that Trump is a king. Now, no honest person looks at the situation and thinks that Trump is a dictator, unless, of course, you are part of the resist AARP crowd. You see, it's very interesting. Besides the purple-haired jihadis and the rank-and-file stormtroopers of the left, look at that picture here from the No Kings protest. It looks old. It's kind of like the last gasp of the liberal boomer. Not all boomers are liberals. Not all boomers are liberals. We got great boomers in this audience that watch on Real America's Voice. But look at that audience. That is an almost all-white, elderly crowd. Not that it matters what color of the skin that they are, but it's kind of interesting. But they're the ones who whine all the time if anything is too white. They say Turning Point chapter meetings are too white. Turning Point USA college events are too white. I thought diversity was your strength. You guys don't have any age diversity, racial diversity, cultural diversity. Again, I'm not the diversity police. I don't care. If you want to have an all-white gathering, who am I to say? But somebody who was on the front lines of the No Kings protest this last weekend and did a fabulous job is Nate Friedman, host of The Nate Friedman Show, independent journalist. You can find him at YouTube at NateFriedman97. Saw a great clip of his that I do want to play. But first, Nate, welcome to the program, and please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Charlie. Yeah, my name is Nate Friedman. I'm an independent journalist, boots on the ground journalist. And yeah, I speak to people on the street and just get to know what's really going on in this country.
And so you were at the No Kings protest, and you did this very powerful video that I hope we have queued up somewhere, where, let's play it, 296, where you identified some of these protesters do this for a living. Play cut 296.
Here's my press credentials.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so who are you with?
I'm right now I am representing myself, and I'm representing the folks at Rise and Resist who have been trained
so Rise
to
and
be
Resist.
marshals.
How much do they pay you to wear this vest?
Absolutely nothing.
Really?
So I did some digging, and the woman trying to stop my interview is named Karen Shaw. She is a professional protester. I found her at almost 100 different protests. Let's look at her portfolio, shall we? Here's her outside Trump Tower saying TikTok time's up. Here's her saying ban guns, not drag. Amazing. This is her telling us that lies have consequences. She is also very passionate about abortion. Even in the video right now, she's just wearing a hat that says abortion on it.
Nate, she's made a career out of this.
Yeah. Yep. This is her second job, actually. So she's an associate director at Lincoln Center in New York City, which is a very prominent theater. It's beautiful theater, but she's all over the country, touring the country, protesting. And I just knew that that was going to be the case because no one behaves like that for free. I just refuse to believe that.
Yeah. And so you kept on, let's just say, your research, you kept on examining it, and there's a whole group of these paid protesters. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And I've met them personally and dealt with them personally.
Tell us more.
Yeah. So when I went to the Takedown Tesla protest, almost immediately upon getting there, an older woman comes up to me and has a right-wing troll arrow and follows me around the protest. Now, I hadn't even interviewed anyone up until that point. You know, I had asked someone for an interview, but I wasn't granted one yet. And then she comes along and she follows me and asks everyone I speak to not talk to me. And that same arrow is at the No Kings protest, printed the exact same way. And so the original older woman that I spoke to at the Tesla protest, I found her at 20, 30 different protests.
20 or 30?
Oh yeah. And then all over the country too, DC blocking the Capitol, stopping senators in the cafeteria, the whole deal. Then two more people come along, and I see that they're teammates, actually, that all the time they're in pictures together. It's all in the Tesla takedown video. And so they all behave the same way. They're all telling each other like this, don't speak to him, don't speak to him. And what's funny is they eat their own. So someone wants to speak. They say, I don't care who Nate is. I want to have a conversation. They say, no, don't have a conversation. So you see them disagreeing with each other. And it's crazy because, the left lost the election. So they should know that in order to win back votes, you have to have conversations with the other side. The other side won, right? So it's interesting.
Let's go to 279. This is at an ICE protest where he has a sign that says, I stand with Iran. He seems like a pleasant person. Play cut 279.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Nate. I'm just press, and I see you have a different kind of sign. Can you tell me about it?
Sure. My sign says I stand with Iran. They don't have a nuke. They never would want to nuke America ever. I've been to Iran.
Yeah. And what about the supreme leader of Iran saying like death to America? Is that just like words?
Well, that's part of our propaganda.
اینی که شما میگید مرگ بر آمریکا یه شعار نیست.
So, Nate, who is this guy? He doesn't seem like a spring chicken.
Yeah. So funny thing about this. So I had to get this video. I wanted to get this video out to my audience as fast as possible. I later did find him at like 6 or 7 different protests with this, Veterans Association that he's with. But this guy, he did speak to me for over 10 minutes, and I always have respect for the people I'm interviewing. They are granting me an interview. They're willing to speak. That's great. But he did lie every 2 to 3 minutes. One of the biggest lies was that that Iran is not funding terrorism. And I just said, there's literally videos of Hamas thanking Iran for money. I mean, so it's quite interesting how they just don't listen to facts. And then when I asked them, where's their source of news? Where did he get his source of news? He said, Iranian media. So there you go. Well,
Iranian media is having a tough week. So Nate, how did you get your start here? And then I'll keep you over the break.
Sure. So I got my start around the NATO summit of last year when Biden called Zelensky Putin. I thought I just couldn't stay on the sidelines anymore. I thought, okay, this is a national security risk. This person is obviously not running our country. So I was just curious, are people out on the street going to vote for him again? And I let each side talk. I wanted to hear from both sides. And I really just felt very passionate about having those conversations because polls are one thing, but it doesn't give the country an idea of why are people voting for certain people. So I figured if I just let people talk, then people will make up their own minds of what's the best person to vote for.
Stay right there, Nate Friedman. You are part of an ever-growing community of young, dissident journalists. This is what Andrew Breitbart wanted to see this entire time. Andrew Breitbart always said, you have a phone, get out in the streets, ask a couple of questions. And boy, he would be rejoicing to see people like yourself, people like Frontlines, people like Kalen. We profile a lot of these dissident Frontlines grassroots journalists. It's what helps keep the country free. So Nate, good on you. Stay right there. Nate Friedman continues us. Is this clip okay to play, guys? I know there's been a lot of bad words. We're on radio right now, Nate. And so if anyone says a bad word, I get a nice letter from the FCC with a big fine. Let's go to cut 300. Let's go to cut 300.
I don't give a shit about somebody being Jewish, Hindu, Muslim, or anything like that. Who gives
Okay. What song is that?
What's your problem? Talk to me, man.
Yeah.
Problem.
This is so
what you're trying to... Yeah.
Is it filming?
No, yeah. Film me, man.
Yeah. This is amazing. What song is that? We're going to put you on YouTube. It sounds good.
So she gets paid to go do this. I have a question. Do you have any idea who is financing this?
Yes. So she works for a company called Rise and Resist. So there are many nonprofits like this. So there's like Jewish Voices for Peace. There are many nonprofits that are funding this, and it goes all the way to the top. I'm still digging in, but their donation links are to Act Blue. So it gives you a starting idea of who's behind this.
Yeah. And so when you went to these protests, I'm sure there were a fair amount of young people, but it does skew older, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. And I met an older woman wearing a Make Mexico America Again hat, and she was in her 70s, and just such a hatred for America. It's really sad to see that. It's ironic that this is a No Kings protest, and they're all freely chanting against the king. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. But
so the coverage, what city did you cover this last week for the protests?
So this was New York City.
And so the protests in LA got very unruly. This is obviously choreographed, obviously financed. I know you've not been doing this for quite some time, but you have good talent to be able to get in there, and they're going to come after you anytime. And are they starting to recognize you?
Yeah. So unfortunately, so for example, at the when Trump Tower was occupied, I asked a question, and I asked one of the leaders of the protest. First of all, oftentimes I'll try to speak to someone and they'll say, go and speak to our media person. They won't think independently for themselves. They'll just tell me to go speak to another person. So I speak to a person and I say, is Trump a dictator? And they refuse to answer, because they know that if Trump were a dictator, they wouldn't let mass amount of people occupy his wife and son's home, right? So they start to recognize me, and I see this woman who works for this company called Jewish Currents, which is a magazine company that often works with Jewish Voices for Peace, which is a far left radical group, does not speak for the Jewish people, very anti-Zionist, and actually celebrated, October 7th. And you can see that it's paid for because this woman who's the leader of this protest, the only one that I'm qualified to speak to, so-called, she is working for this Jewish Currents magazine, and she's just there in the middle of the day, right? So that's just an example of what sort of happens. And also, I went to a protest recently, one of those anti-ICE ones, and these guys in keffiyehs, they're masked up, sunglasses, everything, and they walk up to me. They take a photo of my press ID. And I say, do you want to ask me anything? Do you want to speak to me? No, you've got nothing to hide, right? You're press. And they just take photos of me and walk away. So yeah, it's not nice to have guys with keffiyehs walk up to you and take photos of your press ID, but that's what I'm willing to risk when I'm out there in the field.
And so in closing here, you as a young man, I'm guessing you're Jewish. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And so this takes a lot of chutzpah for you to go out into the streets and you kind of see the protests. And what have you learned about the radical left that you wish other Americans and liberal Jews would know? Yeah, absolutely. So what I wish liberal Jews would understand is that Trump has been the best president of all time for Jewish people. It's very, very clear. He's so good to Israel. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem. His daughter converted to Judaism. He loves the Jewish people, and he brought many hostages home. It's remarkable. And that alone should be enough. Bringing those people home should be enough. And he said he was going to do it, and he did. So that's what I wish liberal Jews would understand, that Trump is the best president for Jews. Really quick, yeah. We're running out of time. How can people support your channel and follow what you do? And keep on doing it, Nate. We want to work with you at Turning Point USA. Frontlines grassroots journalism is the salvation of a free society. Please. Absolutely. Nate Friedman 97 on YouTube. I speak to everybody on the street. I speak to both sides. I never show bias in the interviews. I speak to both sides and just let you make your judgment of what you believe. Very good. Nate, thank you so much. God bless you. Talk to you soon. Thank you. Excellent. Every one of you has the capacity to do it. Few will do it. And that's what I love. Everyone in this audience could be a grassroots journalist, but few do it. It takes courage.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.